Chapter 135 to 140. Yes, I fucking killed Yuki. Why? That's because he's a psychopath. I've always talked about how he's a bad guy. Even in the web novel, from my memories, he never gave up on his goal of drowning the world in chaos until the very end where OG Rimuru also killed him. As for the light novel and anime, I don't know. They didn't get to that part yet. But I knew he was a bad guy. Do you remember that alignment rune sequence I made a while back? You know, the one that tells me the moral alignments of the people I use this rune sequence on? Yeah, I used it on him. Chaotic neutral was his alignment. To be completely honest, I was expecting a full-blown chaotic evil, but I guess the fact that he has people he considers allies, people he cares about, nudged him more onto neutral than anything else. Well, the chaotic part was scary, so I still killed him. In any case, Yuki is a guy who can't be given a second chance, otherwise he will just take advantage of it and stab you from behind. So, I used a rune boosted with the powers of Manus, Iliasville, to sever the connection between his soul and body. I placed my hand on his chest and using Beelzebub, Lord of Gluttony, I consumed his soul. Out of respect for Shizue and the fact that he didn't actually do anything major as of yet, I didn't outright obliterate his soul, nor did I send it to eternal damnation by playing Boku no Pico's theme song over and over in his head. I placed a hibernation rune onto his soul, causing him to fall into an eternal deep sleep. Granted, that's pretty much the same as death, but it's all in the details. There was another soul in there with him too. Judging by its evolution stage, I assume it to be the soul of a late-stage demon lord seed. If I had to take a guess, that soul is actually Kazarium, a demon lord who died long ago and is currently inhabiting Yuki's body. I thought Yuki reincarnated Kazarium into an elf secretary already. Guess it didn't happen yet. Well, I don't care about him, so. Rimuru, it's so sad that Steve Jobs died of ligma. Kazarium's soul. Rimuru ligma balls. Asterisk Kazarium's soul explodes and disappears asterisk. Another piece of information is that Yuki has a neat little attribute called anti-skill. It's not exactly a skill nor a tolerance/resistance, but it's something like that. Basically, it makes his body immune to the effects of skills and magics. But, I mean, Scathack, Lord of Runes, is a fucking ultimate skill, one of the skills that can manipulate the laws of the world itself. Ain't no little measly anti-skill getting in the way of this bad boy. So yeah, I killed Yuki without a hitch and his soul is resting in eternal slumber within my gluttony stomach. It's much better than just leaving him be to create unnecessary trouble for me. Just let me live my life peacefully, thank you. But Rimuru, what should I do with the body? I can't just leave the body here. He was something akin to a fucking saint with how he acted in public. If people found out I killed him, a crusade would be sent to Avalon and there's nothing Hinata can do about it. And I still need to get a teaching position at Freedom Academy for Shizue students. Rimuru, meh. I'll just do this then. I snap my fingers and a rune appears on Yuki's back before the whole body bursts into flame and disappears a few seconds later. I snap my fingers again and this time a doll appears next to me. It looks like a blank white doll you would see in clothes stores that model the clothes. I snap my fingers a third time and runes inscribe themselves all over the doll's body, on its arms, legs, torso, back and head. The runes light up and an illusion covers the doll. With black hair and eyes wearing white clothes, an expressionless Yuki Kagurazaka stands in front of me. Rimuru Humuhumu, you look just like him. Regardless of what happened, he had a good face. I wouldn't call him a lady killer, but you can easily feel a friendly vibe from him. Rimuru, right, now I just gotta. I place my hand on the doll's chest and invoke enhanced replication. Now a replication clone is controlling the doll. Copying Yuki's memories from his soul, I feed them into the clone. The doll's eyes brighten up, becoming more lifelike compared to its cold and unfeeling eyes from moments before. Yuki bot, what is my purpose? Rimuru, you pass butter. Yuki bot, oh my god. Rimuru, I'm joking. You have Yuki's memories inside you, don't you? Yuki bot, yeah, I can access them without trouble. Rimuru, good. Act like Yuki, don't draw and suspicion. Don't try to fuck the world or anything either. Yuki bot, I can do that, but what about his connections to Cerberus or the Moderate Jesters? Cerberus, an underground organization that's centered in the Eastern Empire. Rimuru, Keep Cerberus, it's a necessary evil. Of course, keep their hands out of the Jura forest and tone down any actions in the West. As for the moderate jesters, I'm a little stumped on what to do with them. Meh. I'll let someone else deal with them. Rimuru, do what you think is best. But don't fuck with Avalon. Yuki bot, yeah, I know. Is that all? Rimuru, yeah, just get me a teaching position in Freedom Academy. Yuki bot, Shizue students? I nod my head. Yuki bot stands up and walks out of the room. Just before he closes the door, I shout at him. Rimuru, oh, and your name is Yuki from now on. I feel the magicules flow out of me and into Yuki bot, now simply called Yuki. A thumbs up pops out from behind the door before retreating as the door closes. Am I worried about Yuki gaining free will and betraying me? Nope. In the end, he's my clone. As much as the clones might hate me, they can't escape my control regardless if they have a name or not. Besides, it's not like they actually hate me. They are me after all, they all want what's best for us. It's just that they like to curse me because I force them to work, which goes against our nature of being lazy. In any case, I'm done here. I pat my back for a job well done and teleport. Appearing in the streets of the royal capital under an invisibility rune, stare blankly into the air before slapping my forehead. Rimuru, I forgot to kick his nuts. Meanwhile, in a dark place elsewhere. He died? Unfortunate, he was a fun guy. Oh well. The figure said as dark lightning crackles around him and the throne he's sitting on. Should I start taking action? I want to see her. My love. The figure wonders to himself as he thinks about a tea-color-haired woman with similar lightning powers to himself. He stands from his throne and begins walking in a certain direction. But I need to get rid of that slime and his allies first. He's getting too close to my woman. In any case, while my new Slav comrade is going to deal with the teacher issue, I am going to fuck off and have fun. It's a brand new city after all. I wonder how many explosions I can cause before the guards get called. Mikoto Rimuru, are you done? Mikoto contacts me through thought communication, snapping me out of my thoughts. Rimuru, I am, but how did you know? I mean, I only just left the building not even a full minute ago. Even then, I was barely in there for more than 10 minutes. Mikoto Ilya just told me, so I contacted you to make sure. If it's Ilya, she probably calculated when I would leave. Or she just sensed me leaving with that broken perception of hers. Well, I'm betting more on the former. Mikoto, in any case, Ilya and I heard about this library, so we went to check it out. Mikoto sends me her location and I decide to just walk there while continuing to talk with her. Rimuru, a library? With books and nerds that like to read them? The only books I've touched in the last few years, including my past life, were novels, fanfictions, and hentai doujins. Everything else is irrelevant. Mikoto Ilya is flipping through several books right now. Rimuru *** with books and cultured intellectuals that browse through them? Now that I think about it, books are one of the main reasons humanity has advanced so far back on Earth. I was wrong, books are great. Mikoto and now she put them down and decided to just scan the whole library. Rimuru, I knew it. Books are fucking overrated. I continue walking and casually evade a random pickpocket that was trying to steal any valuables I have on me. I don't have any, fucking dumbass. Like, aren't you supposed to watch your target and identify any valuables they have? Do you see any jewelry or anything like that on me? In any case, he now has erectile dysfunction. Have fun. Rimuru, in any case, what are you even doing there? Isn't a library kind of useless for you? She's smart as heck after all. Mikoto, it's a library belonging to the Free Guild. There are a few restrictions, but you can get in if you're a B rank adventurer or higher. We came here because learning more about the history of this world wouldn't hurt, and this library has a large collection of magic spells too. Rimuru, magic spells? You want to learn magic? I ask with a bit of surprise. I didn't think Mikoto would show an interest in learning magic. Mikoto, it's more just curiosity than a wish to learn. It's not like I need magic and it would take too long to learn it to a degree that I could use it in combat. Oh, thank God. I thought Mikoto grew tired of throwing her lightning around. It's one of her most charming aspects. I reached the library where I could find Mikoto and Ilya. It isn't too far from the Free Guild HQ since the library belongs to them in the first place. I see a grand entrance made of wood. The building itself is made out of white stone with the same neutral colored wood decorating the building. It's quite a large building too, dwarfing any other building nearby and easily comparable to the Free Guild HQ. Walking up the wide stone stairs, I walk through the entrance and wander through the tall wooden shelves of books, the atmosphere being completely different from the noisy, crowded streets outside. It's quite calming in here, different from the eerie calmness of Ribirio's royal capital. Eventually, I find myself in a section where tables and chairs take up the majority of the space here. The tables are long and sturdy while the chairs seem well made for something seemingly mass-produced. Sitting on one of the chairs with her head propped up by her arm is Mikoto, sitting silently, calmly flipping the pages of a book. Mikoto's tea-colored hair gently falls to the side as her eyes casually glance at the page in the book before flipping to the next one. Sitting opposite to her is Ilya, who is sleeping while resting her head on her arms. Her platinum blonde hair is cast carelessly over the tabletop, making any woman who glances at it go green with envy. As soon as I appear, Ilya opens one of her eyes to glance at me before lifting her head and stretching her back and arms. Mikoto looks up from her book and smiles. Mikoto, you're finally here. Rimuru, what do you mean finally? I came straight here. Mikoto just shrugs, still keeping that smile on her face. Ilya, Oniai-chan, how did things go? I look at her, not saying anything for a while before I open my mouth. Rimuru, I killed him. Mikoto, you killed Y-. Mikoto covers her mouth, stopping herself from saying Yuki's name. I mean, saying I killed the Grandmaster of the Free Guild whose influence spreads throughout the entire Western nations is not a good idea. Luckily, there's no one else around. I just nod my head. Rimuru, I replaced him with a doll that my clone is controlling. He could be considered a slave right now. I say with a 3 expression. Clone Rimuru, fuck you Rimuru. Yuki clone, yeah fuck you. I think I heard something through thought communication. Must be the wind. Rimuru, anyway, I'm getting a teacher's position soon, so there's that. It should be done tomorrow if the new slave works fast. Mikoto, already. I just shrug. Rimuru, what can I say, he was a big man with lots of influence. He also happens to be the school principal, if I remember correctly. I scratch the back of my neck before I remember something. Rimuru, oh, right. I also stole his money. I say as I take out a small pouch from my stomach. It's filled with gold coins. Rimuru, you girls want to spend all this on useless things with me? Ilya, Oniai-chan, can't you just make money with your skills? Rimuru, I know, but there's always this charm in spending someone else's money. So? You in? Ilya and Mikoto look towards each other before looking at me with a smirk. I look towards Mikoto's shadow. Rimuru, Ranga, you can come back. Ranga, yes master. A shadow flies from Mikoto's to mine. Rimuru, now then, where shall we go first? Meanwhile, a certain Yuki clone just realized that his money has been stolen. Yuki, why are we still here, just to suffer? It's a new day. We all slept in the mirror dimension again because Ranga's fur felt so damn good. Yesterday, we spent all of the money I permanently borrowed from that guy I already forgot. I think his name was Yugi or something. After we ran out of his money, I just made more money using Ahura Mazda and spent that. And I did this a lot. Yes, it might cause chaos in the economy for a while, but it's nothing the Yuki clone can't solve. Yuki asterisk in the distance asterisk, you only remember me when you need me. During the day, Ilya, Mikoto, and I wandered over the entire city, just throwing money around. I can't remember half of what we bought since it was all just a blur. I never really liked shopping, my mind kind of just shut down at one point, which is one of those rare points Ilya and I differ from. She loves shopping. Mikoto does too, which is surprising. I didn't think they would be interested in things like that. I guess it's a woman thing. I brought Ranga out disguised under a rune. I felt bad for keeping him in my shadow while we went around and had fun, so I disguised him to look just like a big dog. He wasn't really happy about being degraded into a lesser species, but the joy of walking the streets alongside me and my companions made it all worth it. I guess regardless of how he acts around me, he is still a proud wolf and the leader of his pack at that. A funny thing happened while we were wandering around yesterday. We were all just casually strolling down the street, all the streets in this damn city look the same, talking about how to improve upon the takoyaki we bought from a nearby stall when Mikoto suddenly stopped walking and spun her whole body around, looking in a certain direction with cat-like features on her face. She then proceeded to sprint off in that direction, leaving a stupefied lowly and slime-turned human behind. Ranga didn't come out of my shadow yet. Deciding to follow her, We eventually find ourselves staring at Mikoto Whi is looking at a magic claw machine with conflicted eyes. For those who don't know, it's a claw machine that runs off magic. Pretty obvious if you ask me. As for what was in the machine, Rimuru is that a Gakoda? I muttered to myself. I never thought I would see them in this world aside from being manufactured by myself. Gakoda is this frog mascot that Mikoto is a hardcore fan of. It's to the degree that if it has a Gakoda on it, she would blow all the money she has on her person to get it. This specific Gakoda is stuck under a thick layer of other toys that she has no interest in, hence her inner conflict. Or rather, how did she even notice this Gakoda from dozens of meters away through a large crowd? Rimuru sigh come on. I sigh to myself and grab Mikoto by the wrist, pulling her away. Mikoto, hey wide dash. Mikoto doesn't fight back but looks at the Gakoda that is getting farther and farther away with longing eyes. Eventually, after her eyes can no longer see it from the large crowd blocking her view, she looks at me with accusing eyes while pouting ever so slightly. I smile inwardly but I keep my blank face. I'm still gently dragging Mikoto along by her wrist as Ilya is trailing behind us while hiding her presence using magic she learned in the library. Rimuru, what? Mikoto. Nothing. She breaks eye contact and looks down, seemingly thinking that I'm disappointed at her childish tastes. I mean, I already made that Gakoda bracelet for you, I honestly don't care. She might have thought it was just a one-time thing. I couldn't help but sigh again. Rimuru sigh you know, if you wanted that toy, you could just ask me to make one for you. Mikoto looks up at me with a confused expression. Rimuru, you don't need to get so emotionally attached to a poorly made product. You know I can make much better. I say as I stop walking and subtly make a small Gakoda plush that fits entirely in my hand. I hold her hand up before placing it in her palm. She looks at it with a genuinely confused face. Mikoto. You don't think it's childish? I snort. Rimuru, yeah, to be honest, it's a little childish. Well, I think it's charming though. I say while smiling. I mean seriously, it's pretty rare to find such a hard-headed woman that likes things like this. Is this what they call Gapmo? She looks down at the small plush in her hand and gently closes her fingers around it. Mikoto. Is that so? Mikoto mutters to herself with a small, nearly unnoticeable smile. This atmosphere is a little too pink for my tastes. I should say something. Rimuru, but in all honesty, I would much prefer it if you liked things like these. I mean, mature things totally don't suit you. A vein pops on her forehead. Mikoto, who? Is that so? I prefer that pink atmosphere from a few seconds ago rather than this murderous one. Luckily, Ilya saved me. Anyway, that happened yesterday. It's now a brand new day and I just got contacted by Yuki through thought communication, waking me up from my slumber. Yuki, your mom guy. Rimuru, okay, first off, you're my clone. We would have the same mother if I even had one, which I don't. Secondly, did you finish what I asked yet? Yuki, yeah, your teacher application has passed and you can start today. But still, was the previous Yuki such a workaholic? There's so much stuff he has to take care of. It's honestly a pain in the dash. Rimuru, yeah, I don't care. Have fun. Yuki, wait. You bast dash. I cut the connection and snuggle back into Ranga's fur. I'll go to school later. Procrastination. Later. School. A prison for children that adults use to indoctrinate them into their boorish society. Luckily, I dropped out of school the first chance I got and became cultured through the internet. Where would I be if Reddit didn't exist? I miss you. Mikoto. Rimuru, why are you crying? Rimuru sniff I'm not crying. This damn body of mine. How can this body even cry in the first place? Ilya, you don't want to know, Oniai-chan. I look down at Ilya, who is walking next to me. We don't say anything. Eventually, I just nod and go back to looking at Mikoto's thighs subtly through universal perception. I've learned to do it in a way that doesn't trigger her scary intuition. As for where we are walking, we're on our way to the S-class classroom. From the information Yuki gave me, S-class is the class for those deemed problematic and hard to deal with in one way or another. There are many failed summons here in this school, but those 5 from the S-class were considered outcasts. Ever since Shizue Izawa stepped down from her position as a teacher and left on her journey, the class has been left without anyone to care for it. Shizue was a hero, the conqueror of flames, a Chuyuni title if I've ever heard one. The class was also very attached to her, so they drove off literally any other teacher sent to look over them. And then I came here and took up that teaching position. Well, I'm more of an advisor than an actual teacher, I can't teach shit. I barely know complicated math formulas, and the most difficult thing I can remember from math is that fucking Pythagoras theorem. God knows how many times they talked about that damn fucking theorem during the last days of school before I dropped out. In any case, I'm hopeless at teaching. And that's where Makoto and Ilya come in. They're smart, and after talking about it, I just decided to leave the teaching to them. As for what they'll teach, I don't really know. But I want to be the one to teach the students that the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. I bet their minds will be blown. In any case, I can see Makoto teach, but... Rimuru, Ilya, are you sure you want to teach? Ilya, yes. It seems interesting, I want to try it. Ilya says with sparkling eyes. Rimuru, but, aren't you younger than them? I'm trying to hint at the fact that appearance-wise, you look about their age. It's making me feel like shit, having a, physically, 10-year-old child teach a class in my place. Ilya, don't worry, I can just be their really smart friend that just happens to know everything. She boasts about knowing everything with such an innocent face. Rimuru, the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. Ilya, Ilya looks at me with a face of pure shock. I close my eyes and flick my hair back with a smug smile. Rimuru, You're too young to know everything. Meanwhile, Makoto is looking at us while whispering what the hell, and Ranga is in my shadow in complete awe of my vast knowledge. In any case, the school is really large. It takes after traditional Japanese schools with one large building that has all the different classes separated throughout said building with their own rooms. It looks more like a prestigious private school, however, as it's made mostly out of wood, giving it an elegant feel. I want to blow up the corridors. What? This place is so pompous it makes my skin crawl. Well, Makoto is used to it. She used to go to Tokuwadai Middle School, a prestigious girls' school. She was even called princess there. I look at Makoto to see her walk through the halls like it's her natural element. Heck, she's even wearing her Tokuwadai uniform today. Ilya is cheerfully skipping alongside us, completely oblivious to my dilemma. Oh well, we're getting close to the classroom. I best make my own preparations. I take a deep breath and my stance changes. From my casual walk that shows my carefreeness, my steps become filled with purpose and strength. My white hair flows freely behind me, and I use universal shapeshift to increase my height by just a few centimeters. My back straightens up slightly as I slide my hand into my pocket. From my pocket, I take out Shizue's anti-magic mask and place it over my face, covering my confident smile. Rimuru, now, shall we get started? I slide both my hands back into my pockets and resume my cool guy walk that is making Makoto stare at me with a slight blush on her cheeks while Ilya is wiping her bloody nose. I should do this more often. We reach the classroom for S class, and while still in my confident walk, I step forward and open the wooden sliding door. Slam. Ilya, wait, Oniicha, dash. Boom. A fireball hits me dead center of my chest. I fly back, leaving a trail of smoke, and I hit the wall opposite of the door, imprinting my figure in it. How? Spatial ruler. Where's my defense? That was a slow attack, why couldn't I dodge it? How the fuck was I sent flying back from a weak blast like that? I mean, I wasn't hurt, but still. And more importantly, my cool moment got ruined. I can hear Makoto and Ilya struggle to hold back their laughter. Even Ranga is having a hard time. No, wait. There's still a chance. There's a lot of smoke for some dumb fucking reason. More anime logic, I assume. Aside from Ranga, Ilya, and Makoto, no one else saw me get sent flying back. I scramble back to my previous position before I got yeeted across the corridor and stand there imposingly. Sweet. Nice one, Kenya. Is that your finisher? It's all done now. It caused a big explosion too. Cheering from inside the classroom enters our ears. Makoto. Are you sure they're dying? It doesn't sound like it. Makoto mutters. Ilya hears it and shakes her head with a wry smile. Ilya, the symptoms don't show until just a few months before death. In other words, at this point, they're still lively gremlins, I mean kids. Right, focus. I gotta look cool. Using control natural elements to blow the smoke away, I reveal my figure completely unharmed with my arms crossed in front of my chest. Rimuru, was that supposed to do something? I say with a domineering voice. And thus my first meeting with Shizue's students begins. 5 kids are standing in a group. One of them is standing on one of the wooden desks holding a sword. How the fuck did this child get his hands on a weapon that still has plumes of flame lingering on its blade? Obviously, that fireball was launched from that sword. The other 4 kids are on the ground around him, looking at him with excited expressions. They were talking about the attack this Kenya kid just made. Until I blew away the smoke, revealing my figure. Rimuru, was that supposed to do something? My face is covered with Shizue's mask as I stand there with my arms crossed in front of me. Gay. He's still alive? And completely unharmed too. Kenya. Your attack was useless. Shut up. I wasn't serious then. My lips twitch and a sense of slight irritation rises up. They're talking like they were expecting me to die from that attack. That attack would have caused some serious damage to a normal person, but it wouldn't have killed them. That Kenya kid wasn't lying when he said he wasn't serious. Well, at least they weren't actually trying to kill me. But even so, that attack barely tickled. I'm not some kind of weakling that can't even tank a fireball. Rimuru sigh *. I sigh and go over the information again in my head. 5 students are in the S class and the oldest is 11 years old while the youngest is 9. Kenya Misaki is a young 10-year-old boy with spiky orange hair and black eyes. Basically a knockoff Bakugo. I mean seriously, change the color scheme a bit and they would look pretty much the same. He's also the little shit that fired the weak fireball at me. I'm not salty. Ryota Sekiguchi, another 10-year-old male. This guy has black hair and eyes. If you add more black to him, he would look like your average emo. He's the quiet kid of the class that goes crazy once you mess with him. No, seriously, he has a berserk skill. Gale Gibson, an 11-year-old boy and is the oldest of the bunch. He has brown hair and eyes. He also has a pretty solid build compared to his peers, making it look like he's older than his actual age. Alice Rondo, 9 years old. This makes her the youngest of the group. She's a girl. He has pink eyes and wavy blonde hair. In all honesty, she looks a little like Ilya. Just a little. Plus Ilya is cuter. Ilya ihi. And finally, Chloe Aubert herself. A 10-year-old girl. She has black hair and dark blue eyes. There's a much larger backstory to her too. You see, she's technically a time traveler. Well, more like a regressor, going back in time to the same point again and again in an attempt to correct any mistakes and make the future better. Well, she doesn't have memories of that yet. Right now, she's just a normal child. Chloe. He looks a bit like Shizu-sensei. Chloe mutters to herself, but everyone else hears it. Alice, huh? Really? Alice looks at me skeptically, trying to find a resemblance. Well, I'm not a female, I'm wearing a mask and my hair is white, so I can see where Alice is coming from. How Chloe could notice any resemblance with Shizue is what's weird. More anime bullshit, I guess. Mikoto, aren't they way too energetic? I thought they would be quite docile. Mikoto walks up next to me on my left as she looks at the kids with curiosity. Ilya pokes her head out from behind me, blinking her large ruby eyes at them. Rimuru, aside from Shizue, they chased away every other teacher sent to them. Although they're quite close with Yuki, he doesn't have the time to look over them. Basically, they have trust issues. I don't exactly explain why, but Mikoto being as smart as she has already figured it out. They were forcefully summoned and then thrown away after being branded failures. Of course, they would have trust issues. Shizue was an amazing woman to earn that much admiration from these hard-headed brats. Well, I'm going to piggyback off that trust to get them to trust me as well. Thus, the mask. Alice, wait, isn't that? Alice shouts and points at me. Or more specifically, the mask I'm wearing. This causes the other 3, Chloe already noticed, to look closer and stare in shock as well. It seems they finally noticed it. Rimuru, yup, the one and only. I'm Shizu's friend, I came here at her request. I say as I take off the mask and hide it behind my back before stuffing it in my gluttony stomach. No one questions where it went. Ryota, Shizu-sensei? Gale, sir. Where is Shizu-sensei? Is she coming back? Oof, there's a sensitive topic. I don't know why they never asked this question in the series. Maybe they already knew about Shizu's death? And this is just an AU thing. The other students look at me with expectant faces. Now, what should I say? Mikoto Shizue died. Mikoto answers instead before I could say anything. Kenya, impossible. Chloe, Shizu-sensei. They immediately denied it, shock, sadness, and despair passing through their faces. Mikoto, it's true. She didn't get killed if that's what you're thinking. I mean, technically. Mikoto, she died naturally of old age. Regardless of how young she looked, she was reaching her limits. She left the academy and went on a trip. We met her just before she died. Mikoto honestly stated what happened with a joyless face. The students fall silent. I feel sorry for Mikoto, being the one to break the news. I gotta do something. Rimuru. Well, she died, but she's not exactly dead. I say while scratching the back of my head. The students look at me like I'm a fucking idiot. Rimuru ***. I swear, someone is forcing me to say things in fucking dumb ways. I walk inside over to the teacher's podium and invoke Spatial Ruler, summoning a certain Hellcat from Avalon. A portal appears into the air and a black cat with patches of red on her paws and ears and two tails with flames at the end falls out of it. She softly lands on her feet while looking around warily, wondering if she angered some kind of eldritch god with her last ritual. But then she saw me. She then rolls onto her back, showing her stomach. Shizu mew. She meows and looks at me with those cute eyes. She did something, didn't she? And now she's trying to get out of trouble by acting cute. Doesn't matter, now's not the time. Rimuru students, meet Dash. Chloe, Shizu-sensei. Chloe mutters again, but her words send a shockwave through the other students' minds. Chloe, again. How do you know this? Rimuru, right, kids, meet Shizu. I say as I hold Shizu up like fucking Simba. Shizu, mew. Alice, so cute. Chloe, kawaii. Alice and Chloe, the females of the students, immediately fall in love with Hellcat Shizu and stare at her with sparkling eyes. Kenya, what is this? I feel something in my heart. Ryota, waya. Kenya and Ryota get hit by a wave of cuteness and clutch their heart as they try to recover. Gale, sir. Is this really Shizu-sensei? Gale shouts while raising his hand, staring at Shizu intensely. It's a stare that says, I want to pet you. This statement snaps everyone else out of their charm status effect. Rimuru, right, I guess we should explain. Ilya snatches Shizu out of my hands and walks over to the other kids with her in her arms. The other kids surround Ilya and begin to pamper Shizu along with her while absent-mindedly listening to Mikoto and Ai's story. It's the same story, nothing changed. Shizue arrived at my village with 3 other adventurers. I realized she was dying very soon, so Mikoto and I did our best to give her the best time of her life. That was the watered-down version, but that's basically how it went. I then told the kids about what happened afterwards. In the end, after I consumed her body, I reincarnated her soul with sealed memories into an egg and the current Shizu hatched out of that egg. Yes, I told them about Shizu's rebirth. It just feels right, I don't want to hide it from them. Chloe, so, reincarnation? Gale, is that even possible? Rimuru, with me around, people won't die even if they are killed. I just shrug. Mikoto, he's good with souls. Mikoto says with a you get used to it smile. I'm not just good with souls, I'm the very best, like no one ever was. Ilya ***. Sorry, second best. In terms of control, Ilya is 4 parallel universes ahead of me. She's the manifestation of the Manas skill after all. Thankfully, they easily accept that I can casually reincarnate people, which is a bit worrying, to be honest, but I'm not complaining. They still look at me with slight distrust, but that's acceptable. You can't get them to get rid of that deep distrust for adults they have in just an hour. Ryota, so, this is Shizu-sensei? Kenya, but you said she doesn't have any memories. I scratch my head, thinking about how to explain it. Rimuru, it's complicated. She is, under no circumstances, the Shizu that you know. Shizue died and Shizu was born. Although they have the same soul, you have to remember that your teacher and this Hellcat here are 2 different beings. I say to them with a serious tone and face. I have to get them to understand that Shizu and Shizue are different people. I don't want to see this Shizu that is playing with the kids right now as their teacher. Seeing her as someone she's not just seems wrong. And I feel like that would disrespect both Shizus. Clap. Rimuru anyway. That's what happened. Shizue had some regrets that I promised to solve, and saving your lives is one of them. Punching Leon is the other. My words cause the students to lose their smiles. A sense of depression settles between them. Ilya. What's wrong? Ilya asks her new friends. I fold my arms and Mikoto leans against the blackboard, the teacher's podium where we are standing. The students nervously look between themselves before Alice starts speaking. Alice. Can you? Simply saying those words, I understand what she's trying to say. Kenya, so many people tried to find a way to solve the issue and prolong our lives. Yet. Chloe. We're still here. Gale closes his eyes and Ryota looks towards the ground, clenching his fist. Ilya, on the other hand, smiles brightly. Ilya, what, just that? Oniai-chan can do it. He can do lots of things after all. Ilya puffs out her chest in pride as if she's talking about herself. The students look between themselves, seemingly still having doubts. I mean, this is something the greatest researchers have no clue on how to solve. Even if I'm incredibly knowledgeable in this subject, which I'm not, I'm just a single person. Entire groups failed, what can I do? Mikoto. Let's do this then. Mikoto walks forward with a mysterious smile on her face. Mikoto, we are going to have a test. Disgust and unwillingness pass through the students' faces. Ilya's face doesn't look any better. Mine is probably the worst. Mikoto. You guys overreact too much. Well, although I said test, it's more of a competition. The disgust disappears from our faces and the students show intrigue. I already have an idea of what Mikoto's trying to do, and Ilya seemingly already knows. Mikoto, you 5 will fight Rimuru and me in a 5-on-2 mock battle. That should convince you of our abilities, right? I knew it. These kids are strong, regardless of their condition. They can kick any high-ranking adventurer in their ass quite comfortably. I mean, how else do you think they could chase off every teacher? Some of those teachers were B-rank. Granted, it's not like they could just attack a child, but still. In any case, we have to prove ourselves, saying that we're different from everyone else. That we can actually save them. This competition should do just that. Later. All 9 of us are outside. The 5 students are facing Mikoto and myself, while Ilya is standing off to the side as the referee with Shizu sleeping on her head. Ilya, this will be a mock battle, so don't do anything stupid, Oniai-chan. Why is she specifically singling me out? I know my limits. Ilya, the time limit is 10 minutes. The S-class will have to land a single hit on either of their opponents to win. Oniai-chan and Mikoto have to avoid getting hit by their opponent's attacks for the time limit. She instantly came up with the rules on the spot. It's a bit unfair though. Those little brats can only dream to touch me if I so wished. Mikoto is in the same boat. Of course, they don't know that, and they begin to argue. Kenya, hey. Aren't you looking down on us too much? Gale, that's right, we're pretty strong ourselves. Alice, I can probably beat them myself. The 2 quietest of the class, Chloe and Ryota, don't say anything, but you can see the fighting spirit burning in their eyes. They all feel a bit wronged. Ilya, no, I mean. They're really strong. Ilya tries to explain to them gently that they honestly have no hope of victory, even with these unfair conditions. Rimuru, why you brats? Let me just say this right now, I can beat Shizu in a battle of pure techniques. I boldly proclaim that statement. The kids think I'm talking about the hero Shizue, the conqueror of flames, and not our resident little kitty Shizu, but it's actually the opposite. In pure techniques, I probably can't compete with Shizue. But Shizu on the other hand. Heh. Students, huh? They all shout at the same time. Right, that got them riled. They respect Shizu and see her as some kind of unbeatable existence. Saying that I could beat her in techniques. They didn't take that well. Tee-hee. Name, Rimuru. Race, Origin Slime. Protection, Crest of Space. Title, Highest Tier Spirit, Leader of the Monsters, Oniai-chan, King of Avalon, Master of Headpats, Procrastinator King, the Nutcracker, Socially Awkward Cringe Slightly Chiuni Slime. Manus, Iliasviel. Ultimate Skills, Belzebuth, Lord of Gluttony, Ahura Mazda, Lord of Creation, Scat Hack, Lord of Runes. Unique Skills, Spatial Ruler. Intrinsic skills, infinite regeneration, universal shapeshift, universal sense, enhanced replication, universal thread. Extra skills, Lord's ambition, thought communication, control natural elements, control magic, control gravity. Resistances, cancel pain, resist melee attack, cancel natural elements, cancel ailments, cancel spiritual attack, resist holy/demonic attack. Equipment, Yamato, Raphael, skill orb, limiter ring. If you want to support me, check out my Patreon at https://www.patreon.com/Kayashin. I tend to polls that decide important plot stuff in my P at Trian. Many thanks to my awesome patrons. Ben Phillips, Yami Tancho, Kenny Nielsen, Harold Martinsons. If you enjoyed the content, don't forget to give it a like and subscribe to the channel. I'll be here until next time.